Welcome back to Punch-Ons. This is going to be my full card breakdown recap for UFC 320. It just went down. It was an amazing card. Both Alex Pereira and Yuri Prochazka, two of my favourite fighters of all time, got the dub in devastating fashion, and it was awesome to see. I was spending a little bit of time with my family while this card was on, and we were on a bike ride for the early part, so I didn't quite get to watch all the cards as closely as I normally do. I did have them going on in the background, and I took notice of the important ones, and yeah, it looked like it was a really good card. The main card delivered absolutely, in spades and well and truly delivered, and it was really good to see, Big Ank getting slept and Yuri and Khalil going to war. Yeah, it was hectic. Let's break it down. I did okay on picks. I got 9 correct and 5 incorrect, which is actually pretty solid going. 2 locks of the week I gave you this week, both cashed. And, I picked a lot of outcomes and sort of ways that the fights were going to go very, very well. So let's get into it and we'll see how we went. And I'm going to do a little bit of matchmaking in this video too. I was going to make a separate video for matching up these guys, but I just, there's too much going on, so I'll just do it all in one go and you see how you reckon I went. So first fight of the card was Veronica Hardy versus Brogan Walker. I picked Veronica Hardy by decision. She got the win by decision. Hardy just outclassed her on the feet and stayed safe, and Brogan Walker didn't really have anything for her at all. Like Veronica Hardy, she dropped Brogan Walker, I think, at 1 or maybe 2 points. I think in round 1, Veronica Hardy dropped her, got some damage off, got some head kicks, almost got an armbar, clear 10-9 for Hardy. Nothing really happening in round 2, except for Veronica Hardy sort of piecing her up a little bit. Brogan Walker did land a combo and a takedown at the end, but I still gave round 2 to Hardy. And then round 3, Veronica Hardy just pieced her up, got taken down at the end, did nothing just while she held onto the wrist. And you could give that fight 29-28 to Hardy or 30-27. I think I had it 30-27. So Veronica Hardy gets it done and the picks are off to a good start. I think in terms of matchmaking for these two, Veronica Hardy, she can go up a little bit and fight Miranda Maverick. I don't think she's going to match up. Let's put Veronica Hardy against Miranda Maverick at women's flyweight there. Brogan Walker, she's on a 3-fight loss streak. She looks okay. Let's give her another, pretty washed, not that great fighter who looks okay, and we'll give her Vanessa Demopoulos, and we'll see who can win that one. Loser gets cut, I reckon. Let's move on to Ramiz Brahimaj versus Austin Vanderford. I got this one wrong, but not too wrong. I picked Austin Vanderford in the end. I was going back and forth on this fight for sure. I do think that Ramiz Brahimaj is good, and he proved that. So I picked Vanderford to get a wrestling-based domination, like a TKO or submission. And I also had Vanderford lined up on the Wheel of Doom, and even though it was going that way in round 1, Brahimaj showed a few different sort of tools in his toolkit in this fight. He stayed composed. He waited for his moment. Even though he got smudged in round 1, He just waited for his chance to arise, and in round 2 it did, and he landed the head kick, which split Vanderford bad, rocked him. Vanderford started panic shooting, and he just stuck his head in a guillotine, like a more of a front choke kind of thing, and Brahimaj gets it done by round 2 submission. I was definitely on the fence for that fight. Brahimaj is a bit of a gun. I should have respected his submission game. It was a good performance from him, even though he sort of lost round 1. As far as matchmaking, Brahimaj is on a pretty decent win streak now. I reckon we move him up and we give him someone just outside the rankings there at welterweight. Maybe a Carlos Leal might be a good matchup for him. Jake Matthews, maybe. I think we're going to match him up with Carlos Leal. I think that's a good matchup there. For Austin Vanderford, I like him. I think he deserves to be in the UFC. He's only had 2 fights. He's 1-1, I think. Let's give him another crack. Let's give him someone around about his ranking there, like Charles Radke, I reckon would be a good match there. Say it again, Charles. Austin Vanderford versus Charles Radke is the fight to make there. Let's move on. Chris Gutierrez versus Farid Basharat. Exactly how I said this fight was going to go. I picked Farid Basharat by a boring decision, 29-28, rangy striking with a bit of boring wrestling mixed in, amounting to a snooze fest, and that's exactly what we got. Basharat was just a bit cleaner, and Gutierrez was being a bit too inactive and not urgent enough, and Farid Basharat won round 1 and 2. Round 3 was close. He could maybe give it to Gutierrez. I think I did. So let's call it a 29-28 Farid Basharat snooze fest, exactly like I called. That was a lock. That one was on my. It wasn't a lock, but it was on my safe multi that fight would go the distance. And I think, yeah, it was a pretty easy pick, that one. I don't feel like a genius for saying that one was going to be a boring decision. Farid Basharat gets it done. He's the lower ranked Basharat, I believe, but I'm not sure why. I'm sort of just looking at the Tapology rankings. I don't know why he's ranked lower than his brother who's lost recently. Maybe he hasn't fought that good a competition, but give him a step up. The bantamweight division is pretty stacked outside the rankings there. I still think Basharat is a fair way to go before he gets a ranked opponent. Let's give him another 1 or 2 wins outside the... If he can get another 1 or 2 wins outside the rankings, he might be starting to sniff the rankings there. So who are we going to match up Basharat with? I think Muin Gafarov would be a decent style matchup for him, a decent kind of mirror match. Let's go match him up with Muin Gafarov and see if he can win that one. Gutierrez, bro's dog shit. Let's match him up with Cameron Simon and the loser gets cut. I'm only saying Cameron Simon because I think Cameron Simon might be able to win that and that might save his career there. So Cameron Simon, Chris Gutierrez, loser, cut from the UFC. All right, let's keep rolling to the next fight, which was Macy Chiasson and Yana Santos. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to watch this one too much. I was in the middle of a pretty intense bike ride at the time. But from what I can gather, it was just a standard affair. I picked Chiasson by decision. Santos wins by decision. Apparently, it was a pretty boring, snoozy clinch fest. I think that Yana won rounds 1 and 2. Pretty rubbish. Not too worried that I missed this one. For Macy Chiasson, that's an absolute momentum killer for her. Her hype's pretty dead, even though there wasn't much of it. But yeah, she's even more dead in the water now in that division. It's a pretty weak division, and she still can't get past the gatekeeper of Yana Santos. So give Macy Chiasson Priscilla Cachoeira, who's around about her ranking there, and let's see which one of those 2 diesel dykes can get it done. Yana Santos, she's already in the top 10. She's on a 3-fight win streak somehow in 2025. Give her Aylin Perez, I reckon. I think she's around about ranked the same spot there. So we'll go Yana Santos versus Aylin Perez. Let's keep moving on. Punahele Soriano versus Nikolai Veretennikov. Now, I did pick Veretennikov in my video, I will say that. So that's where my initial pick was. But I'm going to say I did change my pick later in the week to Punahele Soriano. I did my prediction video very early, and at the time I hadn't really done any tape on Puna. I didn't really watch any Puna fights. He's pretty good, man. He did some damage to Nikolai on round 1. I only sort of loosely watched this one as well. Yeah, I knew that Puna was going to be too strong and too big for Nikolai Veretennikov and too technical. Just going off the verdict scorecard, it looks like Puna got a 10-8 in round 1, and he won the other 2 rounds comfortably as well. So there's a good chance that Nikolai gets cut. He's not had a great start to his UFC career. Look at that, 163 total strikes and 4 takedowns for Puna. It was a domination, and yeah, nothing really to report here. Punahele, he's coming off 3 wins. I reckon we need to put him up a little bit again in an entertaining fight. He's an entertaining sort of style of fighter, even though it was a bit of a grimy decision, that one. Let's put him on a main card of a fight night or maybe some pay-per-view prelims like he just had. And I want to see Punahele Soriano matched up against Andreas Bane Gustafsson. I reckon that'd be a sick fight. Put him up against Gustafsson. As far as Veretennikov, he might be getting cut anyway. I'm not sure. If he is getting one more fight, let's give him a last chance sort of saloon matchup against somebody else who's right there and on the verge of being cut too. Let's see him against... I'm not sure if Matthew Semmelsberger's still in the UFC. He might have been cut. So why don't we put Veretennikov up against Kevin Juice? He's coming off a bad loss as well. Let's see Veretennikov versus Kevin Juice, and then the loser probably gets cut of that one too. Moving on to the first fight on the main card. This is where the first fight on the prelims. Things did start to pick up on the prelims, but it was the main card where things really started picking up. But anyway, Edmund Shahbazyan versus Andre Muniz. Look, I coin flipped this one. I was right to be thoughtful of the fact that it could be an Andre Muniz grappling-based win or it could be an Edmund Shahbazyan hands-based win. And the coin flipped. We went with Edmund Shahbazyan by round 1 KO. The coin spoke well, and we got Edmund Shahbazyan by round 1 KO. So Edmund gets it done in round 1 after a bit of adversity on the feet from Muniz. Muniz was starting to enter a bit of a marauding flow state, but Edmund just stayed patient, and he knew that, if he stayed in there in front of Muniz and kept throwing shots, the KO moment would come. Muniz is not safe enough and not defensively sound enough to avoid the damaging shots from Edmund. So late in round one, Andre Muniz lands a decent 1-2 combo that he kind of started feeling himself a bit. There was a body kick in there too, some more shots against the cage, and it got Edmund's attention a little bit, and they started getting a little bit dirty in the clinch. And Muniz started feeling himself and building up steam, and he was rolling downhill. And then he sort of shucked off Edmund after a bit of a takedown, a bit of grappling exchange, and then just charged in, and then boom, Edmund just rocks him with a right. A counter left hand actually that just wobbled him. Like it was a bit similar to the shot that Ank landed that Pereira landed on Ank. Just not the most devastating shot, but just one on the side of the head that just takes away the equilibrium. And immediately Muniz just started doing the chicken dance, wobbles, and then he backed up and fell down and tried to play the typical kind of jiu-jitsu practitioner's game of like, I don't want to be here, so I'm going to lay on my back and try and get you to jump into a triangle choke or something. Like, I'm rocked. Come and play my game. Which seems to be the only way that these guys know how to do it when they suffer any adversity on the feet. So, Muniz goes to his back. Very strangely, Edmund follows up with a bunch of nasty ground and pound. And then within the last 10 seconds, Edmund's pouring it on him. He just switched to the elbows. He was throwing ground and pound with his hands, but then he just switched to his elbows, just like Alex Pereira did as well, and just started dropping 12-6 and elbows. And a lot of them did land on the guard, but just in the last few seconds, a few really sharp elbows got through and landed badly on Muniz and KO'd him, and Mark Smith jumps in and stops the fight. And Muniz was out. I don't know if he was just laying there going, holy fuck, that hurt, or if he was actually knocked out. But he looked like he was knocked out. So that's sick. Good performance from Edmund Shahbazyan. The coin chose well. We got a pick there. And who are we going to match these boys up against? Edmund, he's had a interesting UFC career. He's been around for a long time. I want to see him get a step up in competition again, but not too fast. We know that if he gets put up into those big matches that he's likely to get knocked out or sub. So let's move him up. Let's give him an approachable matchup that can get him back into the rankings. And I reckon Marvin Vettori is the right guy to do that. Marvin Vettori, Edmund Shahbazyan, decent fight, gritty, both scrappy. Both are going to want to strike and mix in the wrestling here and there, but not make it a snooze fest. I reckon that'd be a good fight. Edmund versus Marvin. I think Edmund can win that fight too. As far as Andre Muniz goes, look, he's lost 4 of his last 5. He might be on his way out as well. If he wants another fight, let's give him something a bit more approachable without too much more, without a whole bunch of punching power. We've seen his chin's a bit rattled. Why don't we give him Aussie Diaz? Aussie Diaz just pulled out of his fight. He'll be basically looking to get a win or be cut as well. So why don't we put it on the line? Andre Muniz versus Aussie Diaz. See who can win that one. Probably Muniz, to be honest. Moving up the card. This is just disappointing, this one. Patchy Mix versus Jakub Wiklacz, whatever his name is. I picked Patchy Mix by round 1 or 2 submission. Sorry, it was... Patchy's just hot garbage. He's really not good at all. That hype you had from Bellator is obviously not transferring over to the UFC because he did not look good in this fight, and he looked probably worse than he looked against Mario Bautista. Now, we gave him the benefit of the doubt because we thought that maybe Bautista was good enough that's why Patchy looked so shit. But no, Patchy just is shit. Patchy Mix is not a good fighter. He's garbage, and he lost... Look, I don't even know if he lost, but he deserves to lose. Like, Wiklacz is nothing special either. But Patchy just stood there flat-footed and crashing forward and just, please KO me. Like, I honestly think Patchy won round 2 and 3, but he didn't deserve to win it because his fighting style is just disgraceful. He just stands still, flat-footed as anything, and just puts his head on a platter and goes, can you please knock me out? And it's only that Wiklacz doesn't have any power in his hands that he wasn't able to. Bad signs for Wiklacz too that he wasn't able to put Patchy away when he was right there. He really put a lot of effort into getting that gilly. But why? Why were you trying so hard to submit Patchy Mix when that's his world, when you've clearly got a striking advantage and you've got a stationary target in front of you. Why not just load up and land a big knee or a big elbow on that stationary head that's been in the same spot for the past minute, and it wasn't going anywhere else. So terrible performance from Patchy Mix. Don't think Wiklacz is that good either, and he probably didn't even win the fight. I think most people actually score this rounds 2 and 3 for Patchy, but fuck, what did Patchy Mix actually do to win that fight? Yeah, the rounds that he did win, he only won because he was on top more, I reckon. No damage. So he did nothing. He loses, and I'm not even mad about it. Matchmaking-wise, Patchy Mix, borderline cut him, to be honest. He's probably got one more chance in the UFC, so we're going to have to give him a real shit can, and if he can't beat them, then he's definitely going to get cut. So I reckon match him up with Ricky Tercios. If you can't beat Ricky Tercios, send him back to the B leagues, bro. As far as Jakub Wiklacz, whatever he's called, young, like mini RDR. He was looking a bit like RDR out there, to be honest. Bit of a gritty sort of style. Pretty average performance from Jakub. He kind of lost, so let's not move him up too high. We'll give him a step up, not too much. Patchy was overinflated in the rankings, and so Wiklacz is going to get a bit of that overhype. So I don't want to see him fight anyone too far above him. I think Rinya Nakamura would be a good matchup for Wiklacz. He obviously likes to grapple, and that might be a good test of his grappling and see if he can pull off a gilly against Rinya Nakamura. So Patchy Mix against Ricky Tercios, Jakub Wiklacz against Rinya Nakamura, and we'll see where they go from there. Boring fight. Moving on. Daniel Santos versus Jusang Yu. I picked Jusang Yu by round 2 TKO, and it's Daniel Santos who gets the round 2 TKO. Pretty wild performance from both of these guys. I got no idea who the fuck Jusang Yu thinks he is. Clip farming like he's the fucking world champ, and he's like beating Daniel Santos up 10-8. What are you doing, bro? Lock the fuck in and win the fight. Some guys just are too busy clip farming and they forget that they're actually got to win a fight, and they're in the front of a dangerous, trained fighter here. So, like, does Jusang Yu not care about his career? I'm not sure about that. He's too busy trying to get bloody reels on Instagram. So he's what's he trying to do here? He's an unranked featherweight fighting on the prelims. You ain't him, lil bro. You are not as good as you think you are. Just lock the fuck in and beat this mini Oliveira. Just lock in and fucking beat him. He's not that good, but he made him look good. Credit to Santos. I thought he actually made round 1 pretty close, even though Jusang Yu was landing some clean shots and looking a lot more clean on the feet and had better optics. Santos was in the fight. He was landing some shots from the clinch, and he actually had a good barrage at the end of round 1 that got Jusang Yu's respect and might have been what sort of put him off for the start of round 2. Dude, the clip farming from Jusang Yu was so obnoxious. He walked out to zombie. He spent the whole of round 1 on the back foot mocking Daniel Santos the whole round. He deserved to get chin, and that's exactly what happened at the start of round 2. Santos just was taking the fight a bit more seriously and landed a big pouring left hook as he's backing Jusang Yu up, and Jusang Yu's backing up with his hands completely down by his sides, chin up in the air, trying to look cool, gets clipped, gets chin, goes down bad. Santos swarms him and finishes him after 20 seconds of round 2. So good job, Daniel Santos. That's a big L for Jusang Yu. I picked him and I put a bit of stock in him, but no, he's just another one of those, Asian guys who is not able to move past the outer edges of the ranking. So Daniel Santos, he missed weight. I'm not a big fan of that. He missed weight by a lot as well. Maybe he needs to go up to lightweight, but if he's going to get one more chance at featherweight, I would like to see him against someone like Morgan Charrier. That would be a good fight. And then for Jusang Yu, absolute rubbish, stock dropping performance. Hopefully it humbles him a little bit and we see a better, more kind of locked in version of him next time. I want to give him an approachable matchup to get him back on track, and I reckon that person is someone who just came off a loss a couple of weeks ago as well, and that is Robert Ruhala. Robert Ruhala versus Jusang Yu. That's the fight to make. All right, up to the headliner of the prelims. Atiba Gautier versus Tristan Vines. I picked Atiba Gautier by round 1 KO. I picked that when he had Aussie Diaz as his opponent too. I locked this one, boys. Atiba Gautier gets it done by round 1 knockout in fucking hilarious fashion, to be honest. Tristan Vines, bro, he got hung up to dry. Respect to him for picking up the phone and getting in the cage with Atiba Gautier, but I hope that 20K that he gets is life-changing for him. But, yeah, he was outmatched in there. He honestly fought like how I would fight Atiba Gautier, I reckon. Just run the fuck away from him and just run around the cage and hope I can land like a fluky overhand or a takedown or something and just try and get in like for a second or two before getting the fuck away from him. And that's what he was trying to do. Bro was literally just doing zoomies around the cage, just yeah, he did not want to be anywhere near Atiba Gautier. He just ran away from him like he was the fucking boogeyman coming after him, and that's what it was. I don't blame him at all. Have a look at Atiba Gautier. Dude's nasty with it. So Tristan Vines just does his thing and does zoomies around the cage for a bit, runs in for a fluke takedown attempt and just gets immediately like dismissively kneed in the face. I was cracking up laughing at that. Dropped immediately, just like, ooh, back it up. Like shit, gets back up. Gautier just keeps hunting him down. And like Vines is all like, fuck, that shit didn't work, bro. Oh no. Oh, I can't imagine what was going through Tristan Vines' head at that point after he'd copped the knee. So back to more zoomies for another 30 seconds, and then Gautier he's like, what the fuck's this guy doing? Fucking, why is he in the cage with me? It's like a little fly buzzing around his head. He's just like trying to kill. So Gautier just, marches him down, fucking lands a couple on his chin and backs him up, and then Vines panic shoots and actually gets a pretty deep double leg that, like, if he was actually a half decent, wrestler, he had his hands locked around the back and Atiba's was off balance. So if he knew what he was doing, he probably would have had him down there, but he didn't. Atiba just stayed on his feet, lands like kind of gets backed up against the cage, lands 2 sharp little elbows on the side of Vines' head. They must have just been really well placed on the temple or something, because immediately Tristan Vines loses his equilibrium, and then Atiba just like throws him around, like throws him down from his head in the most disrespectful like takedown you've ever seen in your life. It wasn't even a takedown, just kind of shucks him off and throws him down from like his hands on the side of his head, and then just lands 3 or 4 uppercuts to Tristan Vines' face, and Vines is just like, after he got thrown down, he's just sitting on the floor like a naughty little 3-year-old, just going like waiting for something to happen, and Atiba's just like, just feeds him like 3 times, knocks him out bad. Like, not flatline, but like Mark Goddard, thank fuck, he must have felt sorry for Tristan Vines, because he jumps in and, stops it before Gautier was going to murder him. Yeah, what the fuck was Tristan Vines doing in the cage with Atiba Gautier? He's barely on a 2-fight win streak at Street Beefs, and here he is taking on Mini Ngannou. Fucking wild matchmaking, but yeah, easy lock of the week for me. Atiba Gautier, round 1 KO. Hope you guys got paid for that one like I did. Not much because the odds were low, but yeah, we got a little win there. So who's going to fight Atiba Gautier? No one wants to fight him. He's an absolute beast. I want to see him have one more win before he gets into the rankings, though. He can't get a ranked opponent off beating Tristan Vines. So who's someone who would actually take a fight and have a chance against Gautier, who's going to get him around the rankings there? I'm going to go with Kelvin Gastelum, KG. Fuck it. Kelvin takes on any up-and-comer, and he's probably not, like he might, but he's going to be harder for Gautier to chin, so it might actually be an interesting fight. I'm sick of seeing Gautier just pumping these bums and like knowing that he's just going to knock him out in round 1. So KG, I reckon it'd be a decent fight. I'll watch that fight. As far as Tristan Vines, if he's not just going straight back to Street Beefs and he's getting one more chance in the UFC, which, to be fair, the UFC is usually pretty good with this. If they bring a guy in on short notice against a killer and he gets chin, they normally give him one more fight, like Moutinho sort of style. Maybe give this guy Eric Anders. That might be a more approachable matchup for him. Eric Anders, Tristan Vines. Yeah, that'd be a good fight. All right, let's get up to this main card. This is where the action really kicked off, and this is where I got home and started watching the card properly. Now, I was still on the way home for these first 2 fights, but I was sort of watching them, sort of half watching them anyway. Joe Pyfer and Abus Magomedov. I picked Pyfer by round 2, club and sub. Your boy got this one perfect. Absolutely perfect. Round one, though, I didn't expect Abbas to look as good. I did say Abbas could give him a bit of adversity early. Abbas is a great early fighter, but he just hasn't got the gas to keep it going. Abbas looks good in round one. He reverses a Pyfer takedown and puts him, Joe Pyfer in a bit of trouble on the ground. Joe Pyfer, he stayed defensively sound and got back to his feet a couple of times, and then he ended the round with some stinging shots on Abbas against the cage. So, decent round one. Abbas clearly gets the win in round one, but it looked a little bit inevitable what was about to happen. Round two, Pyfer just marches him down like I knew he would, lands some damaging shots that Abbas doesn't seem to like, and down he goes. Pyfer just gets heavy on top, almost gets an arm triangle straight away, and then finishes him off by working to a rear naked choke and getting the tap. Typical Abbas Magomedov performance where he looks good early and then wilts late, and a typical Joe Pyfer performance where he just lands the shots that he needs to get. He walks forward, lands some heavy hands, and has the ability to finish guys on the ground. So Joe Pyfer's a problem at middleweight for some of these guys, bro. When he's on, he's going to be really hard to beat, and he's been on lately. He's got a lot of different ways to win the fight too. I like that. That's why I said he could get this one done by sub. He could get it done by decision. Obviously, the KO is always a chance for Pyfer. So, yeah, man, body bags are looking good. He's a bit of a Roman Deligi style double threat. So, Anthony Smith, you better watch out, bro. Body bags is coming for you. Sick performance for Joe Pyfer. Good pick by me. Joe Pyfer gets the card started in the right way. Matchmaking-wise, a big win for Pyfer. Let's move him up. I want to see the Jared Cannonier fight. Let's put him in a main event of a fight night. Jared Cannonier, I think Joe Pyfer will win that fight, so that'll be a good way to get him up into the top 10, which I think he's on his way there. Abbas, I like Abbas. He's all right. He's not the worst fighter in the world. He just gets to that level of competition where he's outmatched. Give him a bit of a drop down. I reckon Andre Petrosky is a good next matchup for Abbas. That's an approachable win. They're both kind of gritty guys, both well-rounded. I think Abbas Magomedov versus Andre Petrosky is the fight to make there. Body bags, sick win from him. Gets it done. Good pick there too. Josh Emmett versus Yusuf Zalal. I picked Yusuf Zalal by submission in the later rounds, actually, or maybe a decision. Did not expect it to be done this early, but this is what I expected to happen. I did say in my prediction that Emmett will probably tap at the first sign of adversity. He's taken so much damage in his career, and Yusuf Zalal is pretty nasty with his submissions. So all those little things combined together for essentially what I described, which was an immediate, quick and easy submission for Yusuf Zalal. I'm not exactly a genius for picking this one either. Emmett's over the hill. He's one-dimensional. He was always just going to blob his head down and weave into the void and try and land his big overhand. And Zalal was just able to work out his simple style immediately, have a game plan, stick to it. Took him down with a perfectly timed double leg 30 seconds into the fight, gets to his back, attacks the arm, works his way into a triangle armbar, I think it was. And I was kind of only half watching this too. I think I just got home as this was happening. And it was very tightly concealed by the bodies and the camera angles weren't that good, so it wasn't actually easy to see what was going on. But I could tell that Emmett was in a bit of danger. He looked like he was in danger, and then he verbally tapped, and the fight was over before it even got started. So Yusuf Zalal, 1 minute or 1 or 2 minute finish. 1.5 minute finish, triangle armbar, I think you call it, and a solid result from Yusuf Zalal. Not the most entertaining, but the expected outcome here. Interestingly, 0 total strikes landed in that fight with only 1 miss from Zalal, and I think it was a head kick at the start of the fight. So Zalal, he's on the rise. Emmett's on the decline. Pretty easy, logical pick. Round 1 submission. Good work, Yusuf Zalal. Annoying on the mic afterwards. So matchmaking, let's give Yusuf Zalal maybe Yair Rodriguez if Yair isn't going to fight Diego Lopez. I think that'd be a good fight. They're both long, rangy, kind of bitch-made, sort of striking, submission kind of guys. Good matchup. The winner gets a number 1 contender fight. I reckon Zalal would probably beat Yair Rodriguez too. But I want to see that fight. Yair versus Yusuf Zalal. As far as Emmett, might be time for him to retire as well, but I think he's been a bit of a legend. He should have the right to have a retirement fight, and I think he should take that retirement fight against Pitbull, Patricio Pitbull, bit of an old unk at featherweight sort of style of legacy matchup. Emmett versus Pitbull, winnable for Emmett. Get out of here in a win. His career's pretty much done. Let's see him retire against Pitbull. Good win from Zalal. All right. Yuri versus Khalil. I was a bit worried when I saw that Yuri didn't have his bloody samurai hairdo and just went with a shaved bald head. But, I mean, there was a lot of things that really worried me about Yuri in this fight. I picked Yuri by round 2 KO after losing the fight early to a more technical Khalil, but breaking him in the later rounds. Another pretty good pick. Now, I said that he would break him in round 2. He broke him in round 3. But what a fucking scrap this was. Yuri is built different to these guys. There's no other way to say it. What the fuck is Yuri Prochazka actually made of? Whatever this guy's been doing in the forest needs to be studied. His DNA needs to be studied. What the fuck is Yuri Prochazka? He's him, absolutely. Some kind of like ancient primordial beast that's been awakened and sent to Earth to fucking inflict violence and damage on these light heavyweight guys, because that was a fucking crazy performance from Yuri. It is the worst he's ever looked in the octagon in round 1 and round 2. Completely street beefs, so untechnical, couldn't get his footing at all. He was slipping all over the octagon, getting tagged with big, clean counters from Khalil. Khalil was looking really crispy in round 1 and 2 on the feet. Just, this is what I was worried about in the predictions, just that Khalil might have been the perfect kryptonite for Yuri, just because he's fast and he's got that technical style and he's precise with it and he lands good straight shots while Yuri's bobbling around trying to do all these different stuff. And yeah, man, it was when Yuri was really struggling to get his reads and get his footwork going in round 1 and 2. I was a bit worried that Khalil was just going to school him over 3 rounds, and it's where it was going. But just Yuri is just the man. And look, the energy changed. I could sense the energy shifting in the fight because Yuri just started going, fucking beating his head and just going, no, let's not go for that. Whenever he'd get whenever he'd get hit, he was like ashamed of himself for getting hit by Khalil. He was like annoyed at himself, like, fucking stop getting hit to the chin. But then as the fight went on, I could see Khalil's body language was going downhill. He was breaking. Even though he was clearly winning the fight, he was landing those good counters and blitzing in with those straight shots. I could see that the steam was coming off his shots a little bit, and he was starting to suck in the big ones. At the end of both 1 and 2, Khalil looked gassed in the corner. He put his hands up on the cage like this, and Yuri was just sitting there calm, just getting his face attended to and breathing and talking, and Khalil looked gassed. And look, this fight was really how I said it would be. It was Khalil not having the pop or the damage to really do anything to Yuri and put him off his game. Like, it was working. It was a good strategy in terms of winning a strategic fight, but you can't have that type of fight against Yuri Prochazka. This is what I said. Because once he started wearing out, it just became Yuri time more and more. Just the fight just started to trend into Yuri's favour. If Khalil had Merab's cardio, that would be a scary fighter. That'd be a really scary proposition for these guys at light heavyweight, because Khalil is really clean and precise and fast. But once again, Yuri's fucking built different. I have never had my heart rate go up as high as it did in this fight in round 3. When Yuri just started getting into Terminator mode, I was shitting myself, hey. I was like, is he actually going to do it? Is he going to get chinned? But as soon as I knew that Yuri was in that blockhead, just marauding mode, it was over for Khalil, because Khalil doesn't have that in him to stand and bang with Yuri and to get in the pocket and have that style of fight. That was when it entered Yuri's world, and it was fucking insane. It was so good to watch. That's why I love this guy. Yuri just wading into the fire, exchanging shots, winning the fight through pure heart, grit, determination, toughness, his warrior mindset. You know, he's the ultimate UFC warrior. Like in a past life, in a different historical time, this guy would have been Leonidas or Alexander the Great. He's one of those just built different, once in a lifetime warriors. Fucking animal. Smashes Khalil with tight elbows, like they're trading elbows in the clinch, and like Yuri would do an elbow and Khalil would go, oh fuck, and then Khalil would throw his own equally strong elbow and Yuri would just go, let's go for that, and then fucking throw another one back and Khalil would just rock him. So he's a fucking demon. He gets Khalil up against the cage, smashes him with some tight elbows, body shots, hooks, combinations, breaks Khalil up against the cage. Khalil's thinking, what the fuck do I have to do to banish this demon? And Yuri just says, you can't. Let's go for that. He just marches him down, lands a big three-piece combo with a big, nasty left hook to finish. Flatlines Khalil out cold. Done him probably worse than Pereira done him. And it's probably comeback of the year. It might be fight of the year contender. It's probably a KO of the year contender. Fuck, Yuri is the GOAT, boys. He's fucking insane, and he's back, and I'm so glad he's back, and what a great performance, and let's go for that. Matchmaking-wise, well, I think that Yuri should fight Ankalaev for number one contender status. Ank is 1-1 with Pereira, and even though Ank is ugly and boring, he does deserve the right to earn a trilogy fight. I just reckon we delay it as long as we can so that Alex can do other stuff and maybe retire so that even if Ank does earn his rematch, he doesn't get it. I reckon we do Yuri versus Ank next year. Both are going to need a bit of time off. I reckon that fight could headline a fight night or probably more likely just to be a big featured fight on a pay-per-view. They love getting Yuri Prochazka on pay-per-views. He has to be honest. And I reckon Yuri's got the style to beat Ankalaev. I reckon if he wins this, he's right back up there for a title fight again, regardless of who's the champ, even if it is Alex. Maybe they even do Yuri versus Ankalaev for like an interim title or a vacant title. Maybe after, Pereira's beaten Ulberg and then it's gone up to fight Tom or something. I'll talk about that a little bit more a bit later. But, I want to see Yuri versus Big Ank. That's the fight that even if Big Ank would have won, we were probably going to see that fight. Let's see it anyway, because I don't think they're going to do Yuri versus Alex 3 when there's Ulberg sitting there, as a contender. Khalil, he's been destroyed in 2 of his last 3 fights, like really bad life-changing damage. He needs to fight against a less violent guy this time. I think we need to protect him a little bit. So the perfect bounce-back fight, I reckon, for Khalil is Dominic Reyes. Both of these guys coming off a loss, a knockout loss too. Both are going to need some time off. Dom didn't take that much damage. Khalil will need a bit more time off than Dom will, but Dom's pretty sort of inactive anyway. Winnable fight for Khalil. It's either Dominic Reyes or some more violent guys outside the rankings there, like Johnny Walker or Bogdan Guskov or Volkan Ozdemir. But I think after Khalil's last few performances, he stepped up and, helped the UFC. He's got whooped and put on some entertaining fights. So let's give him Dominic Reyes, get him a win, get him back in the mix. I like having Khalil at the top of division. He's fun. Let's put him up against Dominic Reyes so he can chin him, because I reckon he would. Moving on to the co-main event, the bantamweight title fight between Merab Dvalishvili and Corey Sandhagen. I picked Merab to win by decision, with maybe dropping a round or two to Corey and using his cardio, pressure and wrestling to win the rounds and avoid Corey striking. Once again, I basically flushed this pick right down the middle. Pretty much exactly went to the script. I got to say, I was worried in round 1 because I thought, throughout the week I was having a few little sneaky, little evil feelings that Corey might win this one. I had a feeling there was going to be an upset in one of the 2 title fights, but I wasn't sure which one. I should have known that it wouldn't have been this one and it was Pereira because, I did pick Merab. It was a confident pick. It was a lock of the week. But I was seeing some visions of Corey, getting that Edgar flying knee against Merab. And to be fair, he was looking for it and it came close a couple of times. Round 1, I gave it to Corey Sandhagen easily. He was looking good. He made some reads on Merab's entries. He stuffed the takedowns. He landed the cleaner shots, and that kind of looked like he had Merab figured out. Guru said this on his video. He said, round 1, it looked like Corey Sandhagen was going to 50-45 Merab. The beakers and test tubes, they were on full display. Great feints, kicks, creative shots. It was a really good round for Sandhagen. It was 10-9, but Merab, I guess, was just downloading his data. Round 2, unbelievable for Merab. He almost got Corey out of there with a TKO, rocked him back with a 5-punch combo, like more than that. The last couple of shots landed, then backed him up. That was the first kind of flurry that rocked Corey a bit. And then once he was up against the cage in tight and like in the pocket, Merab just went to town on him, poured some mustard on him, smashed him with tight shots in the clinch, like a never-ending combo, then had Corey rocked badly. The crowd and the commentary was going wild, and I actually thought we were about to get the fabled Merab TKO win that he called for. It would have been pretty epic from Merab if he had got it done then and there, but not to be. Corey nearly got finished, but he stayed in and he did get his composure back, but that moment in round 2 really changed the trajectory of this fight. After that fight-ending sequence, Corey just basically looked like he'd legitimately shit his pants, and he was like trying to hide it, trying to not let anyone notice that he had feces inside his underwear. He had that look on his eyes, like wide-eyed and like kind of, you guys didn't see that, right? You guys can't smell that shit leaking down my leg, but yeah, he was busted up a bit. He was bleeding, and Merab just started smelling blood in the water or shit in the undies or whatever it is, and poured it on him. Constant wrestling. Like, Corey was stuffing the wrestling every single time, but that doesn't matter for Merab. You know, he doesn't take you down to get top position or, like, you know, to submit you. He just does it to disrupt you and to land more shots and just to get control time. Because while ever you're defending a Merab takedown, he's winning the fight and you're losing the fight. And that's basically all Merab has to do, is just to be winning, because he can be winning for such a long amount of time, and he's got the the gas tank and the cardio to just be slightly winning for longer than you can. So I did give round 2 as a 10-8 for Merab. He did almost finish Corey. I wouldn't be too upset if he said it was a 10-9, but I reckon 10-8. Round 3, just more Merab smudging, easy work. I think Corey was still out of it a little bit, just on the back foot, getting pressured the whole time. Merab doing his thing, just smiling, marching him down. Landed some decent shots in round 3 as well. His striking's actually pretty good, considering he's got little T-Rex arms and short legs. He's got that, you know, unique striking style that's basically wholly dependent on his wrestling threat, and it works for Merab. So, like, you know, great, decent technical strikers like O'Malley and Sandhagen have struggled to work out Merab's striking style. It's just all based on his pressure and his wrestling. Look at that. He got 20 takedowns out of 37 in this fight. Wow. So round 4, Corey did pretty well on the feet. His coaches were into him, saying, stop backing up, clash, meet him in the middle. He did start to do that a bit more in round 4, and he had some decent shots that he landed. So I gave round 4 to Corey. And I wasn't 100% sure if round 2 was a 10-8. So there was a chance it could have been 2-2 on the scorecards after 4. So I thought that whoever put the stamp on it in round 5 deserved to win it and would have a decent case to win the fight. And, of course, it was Merab. He made the most of the ultimate championship round, stuck to his game plan, out-wrestled Corey, stayed safe. Just put on a vintage Merab snoozy sort of performance for the most part, but the round 2 was actually pretty sick for Merab. Not that bad of a fight, really. I think just the fact that it was sandwiched in between, you know, the smorgasbord of violence that was Yuri and the Pereira performances, that it just felt like a bit of a toilet break, this one. Sometimes Merab's fights do feel like that, and this was one of his probably more boring fights, but dominant too. Good performance for Merab. He's also built different, but in a very different way to Yuri. The matchmaking's really tricky with Merab. Who the fuck beats Merab? He called out Petr Yan in December. I'm actually pretty cool with that. I think it's a foregone conclusion that Merab wins it already, so it's not really the most hype fight, but that's just the case with everyone at bantamweight at the moment. Jan is on a decent little streak, and he deserves to have another chance. Maybe he'll fight. Maybe he'll have a different performance like he did last time. Maybe he will have that Alex Pereira just revenge moment. Look, I would really like to see Merab versus Pantoja, but I can't see that happening anytime soon either. I think the UFC is trying to protect both guys. Well, trying to protect I don't know that protect, but trying to keep them in their own divisions, just because they're both somewhat boring champs. I don't really want them stinking up each other's divisions. And I still think, you know, with Joshua Van, we've got some work to do still from Pantoja. Merab versus Petr Yan is probably the next fight to make. So we're going to go with Merab getting his... If he can have another defence in December, that would be an insane calendar year. He's probably going to be fighter of the year if he does that. So Yan versus Merab. After that, though, it gets a little bit more interesting, because you've got that Umar versus Mario Bautista fight, and I think the winner of that should get the next go at Merab, whether it's an Umar title fight, because that was Merab's closest fight in his title reign, and then if Bautista wins, it's a fresh matchup too. So let's put Merab against Yan in the meantime, and then we'll put him against the winner of that afterwards. Corey Sandhagen, I think this is an obvious next matchup. Put him against Sean O'Malley and let the beakers and test tubes come out again. Both of these guys have just, you know, beaten other people in their division but lost to the champ somewhat, convincingly. I think that Sandhagen versus O'Malley is a fan-friendly fight that a lot of people have wanted to see for a long time. It'll be a fun, technical, mostly striking matchup, unless Corey Sandhagen goes full Nerdhagen and just like wrestle fucks him, which is possible. And the winner of that is right back in the mix at bantamweight. So Corey versus Sugar, let's book that for early next year. And then we get to the main event. the big light heavyweight title fight between Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira. And that belt is no longer sitting on your shoulder, Big Ank. I picked Ankalaev by round 2 TKO. Boys, the Punch-On's main event curse is real. I'm going to start using this main event curse to influence the UFC. I'll be picking whoever I want to lose in the future. Whoever I want to lose the main event, I'll just pick him like I did with Big Ank. So you're welcome for that one, boys. We got Ankalaev knocked out. I did this for us, boys. We put the curse on Big Ank so that we can get Poatan back on top. We will be declining the Big Ank trilogy and we will be going up to heavyweight to fight Tom at the White House. Ankalaev, what happened, bro? You shit the bed. Pereira was not fucking around in this fight at all. He just got on the gas immediately, backed up Big Ank against the cage, landed a big, winging right hook, put Ank on Crip Street fucking immediately. Ankalaev just got teleported back to the cliffs of Dagestan. He's like, holy shit, brother, this bear has good striking, but nobody check his grappling. and then he shot in for the most pathetic-looking panic single leg that you've ever seen in your life. Alex Pereira just rolls him over, blobs him, just starts fucking grabbing his ugly head and feeding him, ground and pounding him out. Big shots, elbows, 12-6 elbows to the body, to the head. The body one was nasty. Then he started sneaking a few through the guard as well. I do think that most of the shots hit the guard. Pretty much all the shots hit the guard, but Ank wasn't moving. He wasn't trying to get up. He was accepting the position. Pereira was just going to keep pouring it on him, and the ground and pound damage just kept adding up to the point where Herb Dean had no choice to stop it. You could call it an early stoppage, but there was going to be another 20 shots like that. So I think Herb just did his job and saved Ank. He gave Ank plenty of chance too. There was 20 odd ground and pound shots landed, maybe more. So yeah, Poatan exacts his revenge and gets it done quickly and decisively in round 1 by pounding Ankalaev out. It's a very surprising result for me. I don't know why I'm so surprised because, Poatan is a bad man. He's one of the best fighters of all time, one of the most dangerous men alive. But I thought Ankalaev would provide a bit more resistance in this fight. I think he just got clipped by that, deadly power before he had a chance to even settle into the fight. And Poatan did this good with Khalil as well. He just sprinted straight across the cage and hit him with an up kick, like an axe kick or something. So it's obviously something Pereira's discussed with his coaches, just getting straight into their opponent's face and bringing the fight to him. And it's a scary dude, and with the power that Pereira's got, if he's in your face throwing hooks and something lands, it's inevitable. I think the way that he finished Ankalaev was quite dismissive of his rematch chance as well. I think that when a champ like Ankalaev is not that marketable, and he gets finished quite quickly in a rematch, he's going to have to work his way back to the belt. He's not going to get just a given title shot, I don't think. And I honestly reckon that Alex Pereira will be gone like the wind by the time that happens anyway, because he's got bigger fish to fry, Alex Pereira. So pretty wild performance. Great for the UFC and just fans of violence. And Pereira gets his huge moment and says, Shama! And he does his thing right in Ag's face. Ankalaev did not like it at all. He stood right up and was like, what the fuck, bro? But he was rocked. So, Pereira gets his moment, gets the belt back. Let's talk about matchmaking because it's pretty exciting for now that we've got Pereira back with the belt. I did talk about Ankalaev already. I said that, he should fight Yuri Prochazka. I think that's the fight to make there. For Pereira, I think you've got to give him to Carlos Ulberg. You've got a fresh contender there. Ulberg's marketable. He's got, devastating hands. He's coming off a big win. They flew him over there to the event. I think the UFC have been trying to set this one up. They're good at putting the next contenders up there and ready. And even though I think there is a chance that Alex kind of goes and does some weird shit now and goes up and fights Tom or, I don't know, John Jones or something, you got to remember there's a pay-per-view in Sydney in February, I think. So I reckon they're gonna go to Sydney, and if Pereira is healed up and ready by then, he's usually a pretty active guy, and I think he means business at the moment. He might have hurt his toe, so I don't know how quickly he can turn around, but Pereira is a favourite in Australia. He's fought over there before. I reckon Pereira goes and fights Ulberg in Australia in February, wins that, and then he can move up and fight Tom in July at the White House. What a fucking timeline we've got here, boys. We're actually, instead of talking about fucking shit matchups for Ankalaev after a smudge, we're talking about who the fuck does Alex Pereira get to knock out next. And sadly, because I do like Ulberg, I think it's going to be Ulberg. Pereira versus Ulberg. In the meantime, while we set up, what's happening with the White House, and, they've got their cash cow back on the back with the belt. They're going to want to cash in on that. They're going to want to get as many title fights headlined by Alex Pereira as they can before he retires. And I reckon we've got some exciting times ahead. So we see Alex Pereira fight Ulberg in February. He probably wins that, and then he goes up to fight for 3 belts at the White House for that heavyweight strap. Meanwhile, Ankalaev and Yuri, they might have their fight for the interim belt. I don't know if you can put Ankalaev straight back into an interim title fight or a vacant title fight after he just got knocked out. Don't know. Maybe they do something crazy like a Ulberg Yuri for the vacant belt. Maybe that Pereira doesn't quite get ready in time for February, and it's Ulberg versus Yuri in Australia for the interim belt. Don't know. I feel like there's an interim belt situation coming at light heavyweight now that we've got Pereira back on it. So it's exciting. We've got some life back in the division, and Sharma lives. So hectic card, good stuff, boys. Violent card. I loved it. Good to see. Some interesting times ahead for us as UFC fans. Alex Pereira back with the belt round his shoulder. Yuri Prochazka is a fucking animal. Merab's still doing his thing, and the picks were decent this week. Hopefully we can do a bit better next week. We've got some more content coming this week with the UFC Rio card. We've got Charles Oliveira versus Mateus Gamrot. I'll get a video out soon with my predictions for that. Hope you enjoyed the video this week and the breakdowns, and punch on.